Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes
Pretending
away?
I'm wearing a watch.
Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you very much to the voice that gets me on the air. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. We are live streaming on LinkedIn. Hello, LinkedIn. Everybody wave hello. Hello, Facebook ×2.
Hello.
And hello, YouTube. This is Technology Revolution. And have I got a special show for all of you. I don't know how many live viewers or listeners we have, but this is special. You're going to want to watch this on demand because you're going to want to play it over and over and over again. So what's special about this is we're going to have a live poetry reading because the topic today, every week I do the future of an industry, a business niche, a global trend, a creative genre where we're getting super creative today. It's the future of poets. I didn't say poetry. I said poets and AI. We're not talking about the writing. Last week I did the future of techno thrillers and AI. We talked about how they use AI for marketing, for formatting, for research, but not for writing. The week before it was novelists. Today it's poets. So let me get started, and I'm going to do a special introduction for my guests, and then we'll go into our live reading, and let's see what happens. So welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where AI meets innovation. We'll explore the how. Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic is leading the way. The future of poets and AI is our theme today. And to my poets, this is not poetry. This is just a rhyming intro. Be very careful about that. Bob Gossom, wave hello. Cheryl Michie, wave hello. Trevor Harrison, wave hello. Poets 3 will predict AI helping research and formats for true clarity. Their on-air poetry reading will transport us far. I have some of my own poems too. Human poets showing how versatile they are. So I'm going to read a special gift to each of you. Bob, you're first, and I hope you enjoy this. Born in San Diego to a Navy family's tide, Bob moved often, horizons opening wide. From Walter Farley's pages to science fiction's flame, books became portals that quietly called Bob's name. In Annapolis classrooms, Whitman's voice rang clear. The beats and the classics drew language near. Bob wrote his first true poem in his high school days and found in the written word a lifelong blaze. From film sets to fatherhood, from software to stage, Bob's carried his craft through every stage and age. His The Human Equation earns voice and stage acclaim, versified in performance as his poetry fills the frame. Bob, I hope you enjoyed that.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And now a newcomer. I know Bob from my Cool Do show, and I know Trevor, and we'll get to you. So Cheryl Michie is next, and she spells her last name Michie, but I was corrected. It's Michie, so happy to meet you. From southern Indiana to Wisconsin's wide sky, Cheryl's Midwestern roots run deep and steady by. Community and family shaped her early view. Connection and care infused all she would do. A daughter, a sister, a mother of grace, grandmother of 10, love filling her space. Through higher ed studies and an MFA's art, story and scholarship both shaped Cheryl's heart. In acrylics and color, in texture and light, Cheryl paints what reflection reveals in her sight. Now guiding online learners with access and equity's call, ensuring education can open doors for all. Cheryl, I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. You have such a sweet voice. And Trevor is back. Trevor, everybody knows you. You've been on my show 100 times. There we go. So this is a new introduction. From working class roots in Edmonton snow, Trevor learned early how far words could go. In his restless teens, he crossed borders wide through Canada, through Europe, and the States in his stride. A PhD in sociology then lit his flame. At Lethbridge, he taught how cultures can frame meaning in music, in politics, art, in cities and stories that mirror the heart. Writing war and other conveniences to borders unconfined, Trevor's poetry travels through place and through mind. In Safarnameh, tracing the hippies' trail span, Trevor writes the world as both witness and as man. Trevor, I hope you like that.
Wow, you're just getting better all the time, Bonnie.
I'll tell Sylvie. Sylvie is my colleague on this. She's my co-conspirator. So let me finish. With these vision-rich poets, the future burns bright as AI supports poets with concept and research insight. From theme development to structure and flow, we'll see how AI will help you and human poets grow and grow. So I hope you all enjoyed that. My pleasure to share those gifts with you and your gifts with my audience. So let's go around the table. I'm going to ask you just for one or two sentences. Is there anything I missed in the intro? 12 lines. How could I cover a lifetime? Bob, just briefly, I'll put you on speaker view. We have so much to cover today. Bob, anything I missed that you want people to know about human equation or anything else? Just tell us.
The latest edition of my book actually is released this morning.
Congratulations.
That's the news.
Congratulations. Well, tell us what's in the book. Tell us briefly.
It has about 6 or 7 new poems, new layout. I don't have the cover because my copy's still in the mail, but this is the
Hold it right under your
previous
chin.
one.
Perfect. Beautiful. Look at the feet.
The new cover's a little bit different, but it's been a lot of work, so good to have it.
Good. Well, congratulations giving birth to another book.
And AI's helped me publish it a lot.
And we're going to talk about that when we get to the predictions. Yeah. Thank you. And newcomer to the show. And by the way, thank you to Grace McCormick at Lightfinder PR for bringing Bob and introducing us to Cheryl. Cheryl, I'm putting you on speaker view. Just tell us a little more about yourself and welcome.
Thank you. Yes. Well, my book is still coming. My book is my thesis work for my MFA in creative writing. And so I'm still submitting poems here and there and submitting the entire collection as a book. So I'm excited to be a part of this community, part of the writing community. And I'm just, happy to be able to express my ideas in the writing format.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And themes in your poetry, just give us a quick overview.
Yeah, definitely themes of nature, themes of living and dying, motherhood, grief, resurrection, rejuvenation, all of those.
I like those R words. Thank you very much. Trevor Harrison is back. Trevor, I hope I didn't mispronounce any of the titles you sent me. Were in your bio.
No, very good.
Give us a quick update. Go ahead.
Yeah, so yes, I brought out these 2 latest books of poetry in December, just before Christmas. And over the next little while, I'm going to be doing a lot of different podcast shows and some live, readings of the poetry. And so that's exciting. And as you mentioned, I have a book coming out. I call it my long-suffering book because it seems every few months I think it's coming out and then it isn't. So anyway, it should be out in March. So it's all an exciting period of time.
Me and just find out they're really fun. What they mean. We got 2 songs and we have a TV quote here. Bob is quoting Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, played by the late lovely Loretta Swit. I know, Cheryl. MASH TV show. This was from season 2, episode 14, called Hot Lips and Empty Arms. It aired on December 15th. 1973, a depressed Major Houlihan talking about reevaluation, her life and requests a transfer from the 4077th. Oh my goodness gracious. And I have the whole scene here, but we don't have time for me to read it. So Bob, I'll read the quote. I'm not so think as you drunk I am. There you go. Bob, what does this have to do with our predictions for today, the future of poets and AI talk?
Well, I don't know how much it has to do with predictions. I just love the wordplay. As a poet, a nice, wonderful play, you flip 2 words and the whole thing elevates. That's what I like about it. I was talking it over with my wife. I said, I need a quote. And she just came up with this one. And I said, that's it.
I think it's adorable. I do. And I'm going to extend it on your behalf to say the euphoria of writing something well and loving what you write.
Yeah.
You can't be drunk on words, right? Did I get that?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Okay. Cheryl, this is very participatory here, very collaborative. Okay, we're going to Cheryl, who has picked a song quote from a wonderful, speaking of Canada, Canadian singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell, who is still very much appearing on a lot of the award shows. She isn't well the way she used to be, but she's still singing and she's still there. The song is The Circle Game. She composed it in 1966 and released it on her talk about waiting, 1970 album, Ladies of the Canyon. It's also on her 74 album, Miles of Isles. It's one of her most covered songs. Buffy Sainte-Marie did it, Tom Rush did it, but it's interesting. It shares the title of Canadian Margaret Atwood's 1964 award-winning collection of poetry, and it was written in response to the song Sugar Mountain by Neil Young, with whom Joni Mitchell attended was on the folk music circuit in the mid 1960s, and he wrote about his 19th birthday. Yeah, getting old. Here's the quote Cheryl has picked. You know I'd get to it eventually. I'm not going to sing. And the seasons, they go round and round. And the painted ponies, I'm going to cry, go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. Cheryl, rescue me here. I am crying.
Yeah,
This is not the manufacturer. I'm putting you on speaker because I wipe my eyes. Go ahead.
yeah, I'll try to rescue you here, but I do think it's beautiful lyrics. And also, I've gone through many phases and of my life, and just that, the circle game, and just things come back around. I look at my grandchildren sometimes and I think, oh, that looks like grandpa there. Like, is he back? Like, what's going on? Right? Like, just things coming and returning, and just the circle of life. I'm in love with that part of life. Just, sometimes just sitting back and just watching it all go around.
I like that a lot. I will tell you on Mother's Day 2 years ago, when my son, who has a job where he travels around the world, he came to visit me on Mother's Day 2 years ago. And as he was leaving at the end of the weekend, we looked outside, and in one of the bird baths on my lawn, we saw two yellow birds, sparrows or whatever they were, finches, yellow finches. Had been here 2 years. I had never seen a yellow bird. I have a lot of birds here. My mother's favorite color was yellow, and her favorite flowers were yellow roses. And this was Mother's Day, and yellow birds showed up
Mm.
at my house.
Sweet.
And that was the circle, right? No, boy, I'm going to end up crying a lot here. And I have a poem about my mother to read too. Let's go. Harrison, Trevor Harrison. I've got a wonderful quote. You like this a lot. You sent it to me before, and I like it. It's from Take It to the Limit by the Eagles. They just go by Eagles, not the Eagles. 1975 song, issued as their third and last single from the fourth album. I don't know why that's important, but it was in my notes. One of these nights, November 15th, 1975. It reached number 4 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. It was their greatest success at that point in the UK, written by Eagles members Randy Meisner, Don Henley, Glenn Frey. Wow, what glitterati they are. The song began as a solo, this is interesting, by Meisner, who sang the lead. It was unfinished when the time came for One of These Nights, the album, to be recorded. So Don Henley and Glenn Frey helped him complete it. Meisner's performance was popular at concerts, but he was reluctant to perform, and it led to his leaving the band. What an interesting story. So here's the quote. So put me on a highway, show me a sign, take it to the limit one more time. Trevor, what does this have to do with our topic? Talk to me.
Well, as you know, I've traveled a fair amount. So when I was younger, really liked the lyrics because of the traveling part. But the part about pushing to the limits, I think, says something about trying to find, creativity requires that you push the limits, and that you try to do something a little bit different. And I think this song really speaks to the creativity that people in the arts always are searching for.
Thank you. We certainly are, aren't we? There we go. Thank you all for the quotes. Love them. Let's go to predictions. We're really zipping through the format here so we can get to the poems because we have so much wonderful reading to do. Bob, I'm picking 2 of your predictions here, and we'll have you unpack them briefly, and then I'll quickly ask Cheryl and Trevor if they have any reactions. I think they will. So number 1, Bob says AI will be used in poetry as a brainstorming and editing tool. Here's the important part. While poets retain control over voice and final edit. I love that one. That's why we're here, Bob. That's what we want to talk about. But the second one, it goes even further. You say AI will help poets navigate poetry journals and submissions more efficiently, reducing the guesswork. Oh, Trevor likes this one. Reducing the guesswork without softening editorial standards. And I've tried to enter some of those journals, and they'll say, we've got a 4.5 day, 3 hour window in the month of April for 2 days, and make it or you can. And then we'll take 6 months to get back to you, and maybe we will or won't accept you. And I said, that's not for me. So, Bob, I'm putting you back on full screen. Tell us a
Okay.
little bit about the human control, and I'm interested in getting into those journals. Tell us a little more how AI can help. Go.
Well, as writers, as poets, we live pretty solitary lives. If we're lucky, we might have a writers group, but maybe it meets in 3 weeks, and we're working on a poem today. And I've discovered having an AI available as a brainstorming editorial help is very valuable. I remember back in my 30s, I wrote a poem and one word was wrong. I waited 5 years to fix it. Now I can work with AI and work with suggestions and work lines through. It's kind of like I have a nice writing buddy next to me that can help me focus.
Focus, interesting. And what about getting through to those journals? How does it help?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many poetry journals there are in the US. I mean, 5,000. They all have different focuses. They all have different uh, things they like. When you go to submit, you don't know who to send this to, who's appropriate. And I think that AI can help us get through a lot of that clutter and get our work to people who will care about it.
Thank you very much. Interesting. Cheryl or Bob, you want to comment on either one or both of what Bob said? Cheryl or Trevor? Trevor?
Yeah, I'd like
Cheryl, go.
to.
Yeah, please.
I've definitely used it to look up when I'm submitting work, to look up the editor, a little information about the editor, or like Bob was mentioning about the publication itself, what they tend to, publish. So I think it's really good to use as a tool that way.
Research. Trevor, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Bob raised an interesting point here. Certainly, there are an awful lot of poetry journals, and they quite often have different focuses. So anything that will help you do it, because in the past you could kind of manually go through trying to find the right journal, but anything that would speed up. Thing is, of course, quite often when you're writing something like that, there's a little bit of a shelf life to some. Some poems last forever, but some there's a shelf life. So you want to get out as quickly as possible. So I think Bob's on to something really key there in terms of AI.
Thank you. Bob, any thoughts back to them before I move on?
No, I think they covered it
We
pretty
covered
well.
it. Good. Cheryl, this is a little bit on the same side, but I like this a lot. You say use of AI when submitting for publication. Use of AI has helped me to write cover letters and query letters you got a rise out of them. When I submit, I've used Google to better understand Buddhist funeral rites that I attended, and it has helped me with my poetry. Now, we all know that the browsers are now heavily relying on AI to drive their search engines. It's a little different than it used to be. So I'll go into Firefox or Chrome, and I'll put in a query, and it'll say thinking. I've never seen that before until recently. Thinking. That's what Sylvie, and by the way, Sylvie is my collaborator. Everybody should know. Trevor knows that Sylvie is my AI. And Sylvie will say thinking. And I'm seeing that on the browser searches now. So Cheryl, let's do that. And then I have one more for you quickly. So Cheryl, what do you think?
Sure. Well, definitely for cover letters, that helped me a lot because I just, I've always been a bit shy. And so to write about yourself or to get a good cover letter and also to make it brief, like to have, what they're requesting, if they want a brief bio or, a brief cover letter, to kind of hone it down to the key points. So I've really appreciated just sort of that, using AI as an editor. And then, yeah, looking at topics up, like if I'm writing about something, and even if it's something I've experienced, I might not know the history behind it. Or even if it's a plant I'm writing about, and I'm like, I want to know more about that plant. Where do they usually have lodge poles or whatever, some kind of plant. So I think even when I'm reading poetry or writing poetry, and I just want to do a little research, then I'm just right on, I grew up with the encyclopedia. So for me, AI is this, like, I'm
Mhm.
excited about this encyclopedia in my pocket, right? And so I
World
will
Book.
just
My parents bought
love it.
World Book for us. The World Book, yes,
Yes.
it was okay. We all know what that is, or some of us do anyway. Let's go around. I have one more from you, but Trevor or Bob, any thoughts about writing cover letters using AI for editing, for
Oh,
research? What do you think?
yeah, we can sometimes whip a poem out in minutes. I mean, maybe after years of thinking about it, but then we'll spend 3 days on a cover letter because, yeah, so you could you go down a rabbit hole trying to figure out what to say to people in a case like that, and any assistance is good.
Trevor, thoughts?
Yeah, and I guess the only caution I would use is that AI is great at formatted things, so something that is replicated again and again and again. So in even in cover letters, your distinct personality has to come through there. So it has to be a merger of what is kind of pro forma with, you need to be put yourself out there. So yeah.
Good thought. I have to tell the three of you, some of you may know this, I used to ask for a bio or a CV from my guests. Now I ask for an origin story. And in the days when I just asked for a bio, I got cookie. Everybody was extraordinary. Everybody was doing something phenomenal. The word outstanding was in it. The word superlative was in it. I could tell the sentences that came, and they all sounded alike. Everyone was equally extraordinary in the same exact way. And the letters, you just swap the name in. So I said, no, we want origin stories. And you all know I use a little Mad Libs. Tell us, where were you raised and what were the roles of your family and what was your early school experience? Favorite sports, favorite hobbies? Did you have a job? What was your influence? What were your influences? Where'd you go to school? Where have you traveled? And I'm breaking them out of that AI mode because I want real people to respond. So your point is well taken. Cheryl has another one that's very interesting. AI can be used to help collaborative poems. After people contribute stanzas, so beautifully put, Cheryl, AI can arrange them in an intentional order, braid contrasting voices together, and preserve each contributor's tone while creating cohesion. That's a big wow. I'm not going to read your example, but Cheryl, where did you come?
Well, to go a little further, and adults can do this too, everybody submits a line, and you might have, a prompt topic. But then to put those all into AI and let it, maybe group themes together and just create a poem from that. So that's just a thought, just another way to use it where you can still keep the originator's voice of.
It's a really interesting idea. It does remind me a little bit of games played in the past where people would sit around in a circle and someone tells the first line of a story and the next person has to continue it on. It's a very creative act when you do it. This just kind of enhances that kind of
Mhm.
idea, I think.
And I've met some writers on this show or one of my other shows several years ago. There, a male and female writer who had never met, and they were co-writing a novel where he'd write a chapter, and then he'd send it to her, and she would look at what the cues were, and she would take them in whatever direction she wanted to, and she wrote the next chapter. He didn't know where she was taking the characters, the plot, anything. Then she said it back to him, and he did the next one. They met on Zoom on my show for the first time face to face, which was hysterical. I can't remember their names, but I'll look them up. So talk about collaborative. I've wanted to write a collaborative novel or a set of poetry with people, but I haven't found the right person. I'm taking applications and you don't need a cover letter. So Errol, thank you. I'm going to go to Trevor's predictions and then we're going to do our reading. So Trevor, I'm going to combine a couple of these. You say AI will force poets to be more creative, to abandon stereotypical phrases and images. It will force them to more critically examine their own writing. Trevor, just tell us a little more, please.
Well, we're all, prone to fall into cliches. And so I think, good writing requires that you actually be critical of your own writing. So there's a bit of a double-edged sword here that AI could just give you back a whole bunch of stuff that is very normative and the usual th stuff. But used well and critically, it could open up new avenues of thinking and create new creative metaphors or similes or just phrases that you want to use. So I think that's one of its potential good points.
And I'm going to just expand that with another one of your predictions, and then we'll see what Bob and Cheryl have to say. You say it will help you research and quickly find past allusions in poetry or prose upon which to forge your own creative path. So that was just an extension of what you said. Cheryl, any thoughts on that?
I just think that sounds very creative to just give it a chance to expand your mind. I can use that because I will fall into patterns, just to expand your vocabulary even, which is, part of what you're doing when you're writing is kind of searching for different ways to express. So I think,
Well
yeah,
put. Bob,
absolutely.
Bob, thoughts?
Well, yeah. One last year, I just got an idea. I dropped my work into an AI and said, "Hey, give me a technical analysis," and it came up with things that I was doing I had no name for. And I don't know if it changed me, but it was just fascinating to read and hear, labels for what I was doing. And it made me
Interesting.
more aware of some of it.
More aware.
Mhm.
I'll tell you a trick I use. I do poetry. Today is Wednesday, and I belong to the Writer's Digest poetry group. It's just a free for all, and there are maybe 20, 30 of us who participate we get a prompt from the moderator every Wednesday all year. But in April and November, we get a prompt every day. It's called the PAD Poem a Day Challenge. We're not competing with anybody, but I was writing 2 to 3 poems every single day for April and November 2023, 24, 25. Now I'm down to one a day, and I just did one this morning. But let's say I'm doing an acrostic, I'm doing a limerick, I'm doing just something, and I can't think of a word. I know that the letter C is coming to mind, and I can't think of a positive adjective or an adverb or a noun. You know what I'll do? I found a trick. I don't know if you all do this, but I'll put into the top of my search engine adjectives with C. That's it. And people have created charts of words that will pop up on the screen and you click them and you've got maybe 2 or 300 words. Or you'll say positive adjectives with T and it knows starts with T. And I'll look through and say, oh, that's the word I was looking for.
Mhm.
Talk about expanding vocabulary, Cheryl. I've been using this for a couple months. Just on the thought, I just put it into the search engine, and it started giving me these charts of words. I mean, people have actually formatted with hundreds of words, and then some of them are websites where they'll give you the meaning, the etymology. Very interesting. So there's probably an AI engine in there somewhere. So thank you very much. Any final thoughts on our predictions on AI helping? Anybody want to add anything? Because I'm ready. I think you're all ready.
Well,
Oh, go ahead,
I
Bob.
have sadly said goodbye largely to my thesaurus, my constant companion for decades,
Mhm.
uh, with AI giving me a more flexible view
Touche.
into words.
Mhm.
Touche. Speaking of a view into words, I'm going to select this and let's see what. Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. I should have some music for this, but I'm not going to bother. And I think, can you all see it now? Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to do our poetry reading. We have a whole 25 minutes. I think we can do it. So, this is Technology Revolution, the Future of Poets and AI Well Versed, featuring Bob Gossom, Cheryl Michie, Trevor Harrison, and me, Bonnie D. So, this is just a little bit of what we're going to hear if we get time. And let's go to our first one. Bob Gossom, would you please read in your own voice and words, prologue? Go ahead.
Okay, just a quick background. A film version of my work came out, and I just got the idea to write a prologue for it in a more classic style, and I liked it, so I wrote a prologue for my new book. Here we go. A line runs through our lives, each moment linked. We follow our lines, but we travel separate, distinct. At times, our lives will cross, our paths intertwine. Though fleeting moments, these connections shine. In that brief union, a new tale unfolds. Within a soft touch, for a moment, we are bold. My words are shaped to make these touches true, to bring these lines, these moments here to you. I invite you to join with me and play your part to allow these lines to seek their mark. Perhaps we'll find together a point where we meet and share the moment, the music, the beat.
Thank you, Bob. Lovely. Beautiful. Let's go to the next one. This is you too. Elusive Mysteries. Bob?
Okay. Uh, Another quick note. So Prologue was one of my most recent poems. Wrote it in 2025. I wrote this maybe 56, not 60. Oh, in my 20s.
Okay.
Elusive Mysteries. I thought today of pomegranates lying on the ground, tranquil, immutable, or pouring down. The grenadine tracks its way to the bottom just to rise. It can be made from many things, they say. I admit the pomegranate's mine, but I'll take my grenadine anyway, so long as I get the rise. Pomegranates have an acidic fruit pulp and cast the devil to despair, throwing his lady away from him to dance in the open air. You see, she ate one once during a timely state of affairs. The pomegranate makes grenadine and lets you dance in the open air. Come float with me in my tequila today as the grenadine helps rise. An infamous drink if ever they say, come share my tequila sunrise. Grenadine is heavier, so it falls to the bottom of orange juice, tequila, and ice. But stir, sip, pleasure, and sway to know the rising and dancing and drinking today. Elusive in the title is not the intent, but pomegranates have a nature which helps man invent. The Greeks had a world to make things clear, and as their many mysteries unfold, the elusive Eleusinian rites have never been known, always sought for, never told. It's a town 13 miles away from Athens, of the great classical sway. The pomegranate's their symbol, don't ask why, but it reappears in the mysterious tequila sunrise. It frees the devil's lady, it falls in the glass. We sing, we rise, we dance.
Oh, Bob. I'm not going to put an applause track on, but I want to. I just want to keep this going. Just beautiful. Any comments, Trevor or Cheryl?
I absolutely love that poem. I could just see myself or other people just dancing around, and yeah, wonderful poem.
I could drink to that, except I don't drink tequila sunrise. Cheryl, any thoughts on that one?
Oh, yes, I love the just the reference with the pomegranates and the Greek and the taking the the devil, casting the devil to its despair. It's just a beautiful poem. There's
Thank you,
a
Bob.
lot
We have
there.
more from you
Thank you
coming
very
up.
much.
Thank you. That was just lovely. And the reading, that's the human part. That's the part I love. Let's go to Cheryl. Owls Hoot to Please Her by Cheryl Michie. Cheryl, you're up. Go.
Okay. Owls who to please her. My friend walks barefoot all the time, her feet calloused, her little toes stubby. I mean, she wears a size 6 shoe and has ever since I've known her. She could run like the wind, probably pushing off with those toes. We used to share clothes, but not shoes. Oh, they are so ugly, she says, looking down at her feet one sunny afternoon as we sit on the couch with our coffee and the dogs. My heels are cracked, those little toes, she sighs, spreading them wide. The grass laughs, tickled that she's walking on it. The trees bow down, sending leaves her way. She's connected to the worms and the bees. She traps mice and takes them to far off fields, letting them go alive. I would say she wouldn't hurt a fly, but she would and swat them quick. When my daughter's hamster got loose in the house, I heard it in the walls and I called for her help. She can trap anything with peanut butter. And then gently let it go, talking to it as if she were their mother. Birds love her. Hummingbirds and butterflies feel free around her. Orioles land in her tree outside her living room window. She puts out jam to keep them coming back. The wind outside listens for her to go to bed, sending soft breezes for her to dream on as she sleeps. Owls hoot to please her. Coyotes' babies cry out for her to come and play.
Beautiful, Cheryl. Thank you. We've got another one from you. Leaving and returning. Cheryl?
Leaving and returning. Winter barely gone, the path I follow feels like hope. The air is fresh, a spring in my step. I'll come back tomorrow. Cover of wilted dry leaves on the ground, spriggy sumac still bearing a fuzzy cone of berries, although grayish and brown. A spring in my step. I'll come back tomorrow. Tall, rough bark surrounds me like sentinels, somewhat friendly, full of possibilities. Winter barely gone, the path I follow. Passing a field with several small patches of snow, melting into the earth I go. Winter barely gone, the path I follow. Back in the woods, looking down, patches of lamb's ear, a fallen log with a bright green leaf, a spring in my step. I'll come back tomorrow. Winter barely gone, the path I follow. Those trees like buttresses for my mood. I'm thawing out and it feels good. A spring in my step. I'll come back tomorrow.
Lovely, Cheryl. Trevor, thoughts? Bob, thoughts? You're all smiling.
Great imagery. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I love the transition in the first one. At the beginning, I could feel you were describing somebody very real that you knew, and as the poem evolved, she became a little more apocryphal and a little more cosmic, and I love that transition.
Thank you, Cheryl. Beautifully done. Let's go to Trevor because these are short. I picked two, and there's two on the next page. So let's go through The California Sea by Trevor and The Progeny. Trevor, you're up.
Sure. This first one is from a trip when I was 19. We hitchhiked, a friend of mine, myself, to San Diego. So walking along the beach just one evening, the tinfoil sea rolled up, consumed its tail, leaving jeweled foam upon the sand, where I walked, watched by the ascending moon.
Lovely.
Progeny. He shone from early on, said some a progeny, a celestial star, a sun, a whole cosmology. He bested those in music, science, math, geometry, adept in the arts of making love, including treachery. He thrived on contradictions, the rational economy, and showed himself a master of adaptability, but met a scholar's death at last before gastronomy, quaffing only cornflakes, qua serial monogamy.
Oh, well done. Let me go to your next page. Haunted and the Rock and the Sea. Trevor?
Yeah, this first one is more of an introspective poem as you get older. So, haunted. Haunted by the women I knew, yet not enough, their beauty and their love, more than I knew I needed or wanted, of them haunted. Haunted by the women I hurt by what I did and did not do because I hid, my pain, my pride undaunted, my ego flaunted, and thus haunted. Haunted by the women from whom, in fickle youth, I used empty words to hide my truth. Too afraid to reveal, too stunted. In my memories now I am haunted, taunted. By all I am haunted.
Mm.
And finally, the rock and the sea. She was the rock, he the sea. She loved the waves' encircling arms that held her warm against the dark, but feared its restless and solitary undertow, the wordless what that drew him always away.
Trevor, the haunted reminds me of people I've known, of men I've dated, I think. I'm sorry, things are coming
Well,
back.
I apologize.
No, do not. It's revelatory. Bob or Cheryl, any comments you want to make before we go on?
Well, my quote was talking about wordplay. That was just some wonderful wordplay in almost all of those.
Cheryl?
Yes, I just the reference on the first one, that reference to the cereal. I don't know, that just kind of, made this these thoughts real. And I love Haunted and by the Rock and the Sea always. Yeah, just their love poems. And I
Thank
think
you.
they're
Thank you,
beautiful.
Trevor. I'm going to go to one of mine, and this is on the funny side. The prompt of that day a couple of years ago was write a nerve poem. So I wrote my Nerva, Minerva. You can understand where it's coming from. Medusa was a lucky girl, priestess beauty of Minerva, but she had the hots for Neptune. Kissed him in Minerva's temple, not on her forehead. The nerve! This thus unnerved mighty Minerva, who turned Medusa into a monster with hair that hissed. Cancel her salon perms. The nerve! Medusa's new power, her mere gaze turned the living into stone. That's cold. The nerve! Perseus, brave and clever, approached Medusa, but shielded his eyes to avoid hers, lopped off her head, one fell swoop. The nerve! Perseus delivered said severed head to Minerva, who proudly placed its image, pre-iPhone camera, on her aegis shield. The nerve! Moral of this immoral tale of mere immortals? Minerva, she had some nerve. Any comments?
Well, I should say my wife is actually from Newfoundland. She has no Newfoundland accent, actually. I have a better one. But one of the common expressions, and I remember my wife's mother regularly saying, "Oh, me nerves."
There you go. There you go. I hope you got a smile out of it. And I have one more. This is a serious one. The scent of mom. Her first scent, I remember, was Shalimar. Shalimar is the first ambery perfume in history, l'eau de parfum Shalimar, a mythic fragrance with bergamot, iris, and vanilla notes, an intense wake with a touch of impertinence, always glowing, which embodies skin-caressing sensuality with a hint of the forbidden. Glowing like my mom, I was too young to wear it, but I saw it on her dresser and dabbed it behind each ear to practice being grown up like my mom one day. Her next scent I recall was Madame Rochat. Madame Rochat, an elegant eau de toilette for women, with floral aldehyde notes, a fragrance for confident women. Confident like my mom, years later I bought it to remind me of when she and Dad entertained friends at elegant dinner parties in our home. I still have the bottle to cherish those memories of Mom each day. Her last scent was Charlie. Charlie is the legendary Revlon perfume presented in 1973 as a floral aldehyde fragrance. It opens with aromas of lemon blossom along with hyacinth and peach. Middle notes bring rose, orris root, lily of the valley, cyclamen, and carnation to the composition, while base notes include vanilla, sandalwood, oak moss, musk, and cedar. This perfume was the Phi-Phi winner in 1974. Legendary like my mom, I bought Charlie, sprayed it on gently, and I left a little in the bottle to smell the remaining waft and remember her. I'll always have the scent of Mom every day.
Ooh. Yeah, that one's got me crying a little bit. That's beautiful. And the scent, I love that you have these explanations of the scent. And
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Mm.
Bob, any thoughts
Yeah.
on this?
Well, yeah, scent goes right to our memories and
Hmm.
our emotions and our recollections of the past. So I think it touches strings in all of us.
Trevor?
Yeah, wonderful poem. Very moving. I think we quite often, when you think of what ticks our memory, we think of, photos, pictures, sounds, but we should not forget smells. Smells have a incredible way of pulling us back to some other memory. So
They do.
great poem.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Bob, we're back to games. You're up. Go.
Ah, give me just a moment. Okay. Games. My Baltic house may be seedy, not up to your blue boardwalk. But since I don't charge you rent, you can judge my intent. But now you own my whole block. We play games. My right foot twists blue. You rise with a hand on green. I counter, you lean. I wonder, are we falling? Red, and both of us are sprawling. I like the games we play. I risk moving into Europe. Then you attack my Alaska. We deploy and defend, battle and win. My surrender accepted, we pretend to be friends. Fun and game. Your pawn takes my queen. My eyes were distracted when your blouse was retracted. You've checked your way in, my defenses are fractured. No place now left to be captured. Attack games. The big blind with bullets. In the big blind with bullets, I'm dreaming of profits. But the flop is three queens in your face has a trace of when you smiled to my face and turned out everything in my pockets. High stakes in these games. You drop the first heart and I accept it discreetly. You eat the queen while smiling sweetly. But when I finesse the jack, my shins are attacked. Heart games. You scramble the scrabbles all over the board. First we hoard the letters, then you reveal, and I no longer conceal. And now it's mutual endeavor, building double letters, triple words, a whole board together. Forever games.
Lovely. I want to move on before we take comments because we have a lot to go on with. So forgive me, we're going to go on. Cheryl, the person in front of me lays down her bolt of material to be cut. I remember the fabric store days. Go ahead, Cheryl.
And says, I'll have 5 1/4 yard. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the fabric store. I'm in a liminal space. Yeah, I know that quarter yard is room for mistakes. I'm in between jobs, nearly retired, lucky to be alive. Barely. The kid's grown, hardly. Enough to call easy. The season's turning. It's not a wonder I feel sleepy. Last night, the moon cast a spell on me as she moved into Gemini. It's just a common day, nothing special. It will turn to night soon, and another day, and soon another night. The moon was just full last night, now waning gibbous. Will look full again tonight, with a bit shaven off the edge. I am waning gibbous, with a bit shaven off the edge. On the edge of a bit, shaven off the edge. Looking at the back of the pattern, I'll need 100 yards. I say, laying down my bolt of material with a thud. I need plenty of room for mistakes, but who's counting and me not good at math?
Thank you. Trevor, I love this one. Farewell to books. Go.
Yeah, it came about as a result of course, being a retired prof now, so cleaning out my office. So
Mhm.
to keep or not to keep, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler to trundle these dog-eared tomes homeward, or to take up arms of books to abandon on yon hallway table, there to die a slow death, or saving thus a caretaker's labor, lug them now to the bin, or perchance send to Big John's books, or, surely you jest, gift them to the library, that consecrated seat of study carols and coffee cups.
When I left New York, I gave hundreds of books from the authors who used to give me hard copies, gave them to a friend, and he who plays tennis at the public courts in Queens put them in the trunk of his car and went to the tennis courts and said, free books. Hundreds of books were gone within 10 minutes. It was lovely.
Hmm.
I didn't want to throw them out. Let me go to one of mine. This is when I moved here, the summer of. Charlie loved to plant every inch of ground before a fall crashed his plans, tarnishing his golden years like russet leaves. Autumn was arriving in Tennessee as I entered stage right to buy the deed to Charlie's house. Winter was arriving in Tennessee. Cold-loving camellias fluttered with butterflies. It was time to weed, clear, and prune. A cruel December flash freeze, we jacked up the thermostat as Flora reached down for warm soil. Spring was arriving in Tennessee. Brittle, rigid sticks where plants had thrived. Neighbors said, wait, they may grow back. Alas, irises blossomed and clematis climbed. Dogwoods bloomed and azaleas tried. Hydrangeas sprouted like a phoenix rising. The solstice arrived in Tennessee, alive with magnolias, maples, hibiscus, lilies, hostas. This will be the summer of Charlie. Okay, let's go on. Bob, the palindrome girl, you're up.
The palindrome girl. Remember when? You remember. 2 nights. Remember, me loving you. Remember, nights. To remember, you win. Remember.
It is a palindrome indeed. Cheryl, duckweed. We have just a few more minutes. I think we can squeeze them in. Go, Cheryl.
Duckweed. I watched my friend pull duckweed out of the lagoon where we used to ice skate in Tenney Park, standing on a hot summer day at the end of Lover's Lane, your hair tied back and to the side. Nothing sexy about scooping up duckweed, putting it into a plastic bag, but you are. Not to take away from the scene, but I didn't help one little bit. Just watch for the cops in case we got into trouble. This is my neck of the woods. I grew up in that house over there, stole into this park at night. It was hard work, too. I had to creep real quiet like to open the front door, cross the porch, open the screen door, down the steps, inch by inch. My father could hear a potato chip crunch a mile away. If I was to be successful, I took it slow. This lagoon, the Yahara River, Lake Mendota, duckweed so tiny as you stood out on the rock to reach for more. Scoop, scoop, scoop to feed the tiny koi in your backyard pond that you dug with your grandson. And now you're obsessed with rocks, fish, duckweed, and lights at the bottom of the pond, which we will stare into and watch as the fish eat for the rest of the night.
Thank you, lovely. Trevor, Naxos, go.
Yeah, Naxos is the largest Cycladic island in the chain of those islands in Greece. So 6 short little poems here. This room. Our room is small, but our lives are large. The seaside cafeteria, our salon. The taverna, our dining space. The narrow streets, our many rooms. The Aegean waters, our playground. The lapis sky, our ceiling. The sun, a door opening. The moon, a closing window upon our sleep. Coffee time. Beneath my feet, soft pools of rain snake the cafe floor, while Paul Simon sings and angry gods lob gutter balls across the late spring sky. The waiter. The Spartan waiter speaks uneasy, wary of the boisterous sea ringing this island far from the swaddling cypress trees of home. The cat. The calico cat crouches, cream-like, crawling, stalking to jump its jungle prey. Sparrows. Eventide, a spray of sparrows darts the narrowing autumn sky, in treetops gossiping, darkly heralding, nighttime's fall and winter nigh. And finally, the cemetery. A whitewashed wall separates the stones of sacred graves from street cafes. A bent and broken door begs enter. This walkway leading between marble sepulchral slabs, now shattered, discarded flowers, photos, fading names, and empty oil lamps litter. These ancestral tombs soon to be banished from the ancient square to the outskirts of village memory, vanished to build a parking lot.
Thank you. Reminds me of Joni Mitchell's song. And I'm going to, can I go to the next one? Let's see. I'm not, no. Oh, mine. I have 2 acrostics to share, and then we're going to go. Jordan will be done in a second here. So here's my acrostic for night shift. You can read down the left side. This is dedicated to all of you. Bob, I want you to see this. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative, going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. I dedicate that to all of you. And then I'm going to read my blank like blank. This was just for fun. And we're going to go out and you're going to stick around and talk to me after. Blank like blank. Believe in love always. Never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. There you go. I want to thank you all. I'm going to make a prediction here. And my prediction is that you're going to accept my invitation to come back and let's do this again. Cheryl, would you like to do that?
I'd love to. Thank you.
Bob, what about you?
Absolutely.
Trevor, what do you think?
Oh, you know it, Bonnie.
I think we can make this a regular feature on the show. I'm going to put the music on. I don't know. I'm not sure if Jordan has left us or not, but let's put the music on. We're going to go out with the music from my new show, Say What Good News. And let's all I'm gonna raise a glass. Good news is there are human poets who love to read, love to think, love to write, and they've shared it with me and you here on my show. Morning coffee. Decaf, please. Scrolling. I've had enough. Same old drama. Same old feed. Left in a dial. That's what I need. Let the bad vibes fade. Get those headlines away. Hit play. Say what? Good news. Here on Technology Revolution, we like to bring you good news too. AI can help you write, but it's not doing the writing for you. Bob Gossom, thank you. Cheryl Michie, thank you. Trevor Harrison, always delightful. I'm Bonnie Dear. Oh.